The Office of the Taxpayer Advocate expressed that the IRS is in crisis in its most recent report. I'm going to explain what you need to know for filing your taxes in 2022, some mistakes that the IRS made which could delay your refund, what to do to improve your chances of receiving your tax refund quickly, and how you can actually get through to the IRS on the phone. At the end of 2020 calendar year, the IRS estimated that it had more than 11.7 million paper filed individual and business tax returns that it still needed to manually process. As of this winter, the IRS still had 6.2 million unprocessed individual tax returns. So why are so many waiting on their tax refunds? What should you expect and be aware of in 2022 as you file your 2021 income taxes? And what can you do to speed things up and get help? First, the IRS issued two very important announcements that taxpayers must know, as they can result in your return being rejected or delayed. When you file your income taxes, you are required to enter in your prior year's AGI as a form of validation. But many individuals have not yet had their 2020 tax return processed. If this is the case, then the IRS states that if your 2020 tax return has not yet been processed, you must enter $0 for your prior year's adjusted gross income. The IRS also states that if you use the non-filers tool in 2021 to register for an advanced child tax credit payment or third economic impact payment in 2021, you must enter $1 as your prior year AGI. The second extremely important announcement that the IRS issued was that many child tax credit letters were sent with incorrect amounts. These letters are utilized for inputting how much you received in terms of the child tax credit into your tax return. And since the IRS mailed out many with incorrect amounts, this can result in a delay to refunds if you enter this incorrect amount. The IRS advises that taxpayers double-check their letters and cross-reference those letter amounts with their online child tax credit account on irs.gov before filing. The next cause for delay applies to those who are claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Child Tax Credit, which means that you may not receive your refund until on or after March 1st. This is due to a 2015 anti-fraud law called the PATH Act, protecting Americans from tax hikes. The agency is not allowed to begin issuing refunds to people who claimed either of these credits until February 15th. While this date has now passed, this simply means that now the IRS can begin to process these refunds, which is a process which will continue for quite some time. The next cause for delays are for returns that are flagged for manual review. If the IRS must have a representative look over your return manually due to a flag, this can cause several months in delays, typically between 90 and 120 days, according to the IRS. Common causes for a return being flagged for manual review include discrepancies in your earnings. If your W-2, 1099s, or other documents don't match what you input in your return, your tax return is flagged for a manual review by an employee. Additionally, if an error was made in reporting an incorrect amount for stimulus payments, then this can result in your filing being flagged for manual review, which can take up to 120 days. The next major cause for processing and refund delays includes ongoing problems with low staffing in the IRS. CBS reports that the agency's workforce is the same size that it was back in 1970, despite the population growing by 60%. In addition to a slow processing of returns, the Taxpayer Advocate's annual report stated that in filing year 2021, the IRS received about 282 million telephone calls. Customer service representatives, however, only answered about 32 million, or 11% of these calls. This meant that most callers could not obtain an answer to their tax questions or get help with their problems. Now, for those of you who do need to contact the IRS quickly, there is a faster way to get a guaranteed callback from the IRS without having to redial, which is to use Claimer, a third-party company which will, for a fee, redial the IRS and then send you the connected line once it is successful. They provide up to 10 free callbacks should something go wrong with your call and you need to reconnect. If you want to connect with the IRS quickly, you can use the link in the video description, which will save you $5 on your first call. So is there anything that you can do in order to speed up your refund? The IRS states that they urge taxpayers to file electronically with direct deposit information as soon as they have everything they need to file an accurate return. This means that you will need to cross-reference your child tax credit amount to ensure that your letter sent by the IRS is in fact correct. Next, you will need to ensure that all stimulus payments are entered correctly and line up with your IRS letter for these. Next, ensure that all W-2s, 1099s, and other tax forms have been received and are entered accurately. Taxpayers can check their refund status using the Where's My Refund tool at irs.gov/refunds. Lastly, you can contact the Office of the Taxpayer Advocate if you need assistance. Okay, you guys, I hope that was helpful. In the video description, you will be able to find the links for all resources that I have referenced in this video. Please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below letting me know the status of your 2021 tax return.